Hassan, it is such a pleasure having you with us today. Thank you very much for joining.
It's a pleasure to be here, Martin. Thank you.
Listen, let's get right into it. As part of the festivities celebrating our 50th edition of the IMBA, of the International MBA, we have created an exclusive group called the 50 Leaders Reinventing the World. You are part of that group thanks to your career trajectory with a remarkable impact. I'm curious, what were some of the key takeaways from your time at IE that have helped you in your career?
Wow, Martin, first of all, I cannot tell you how honored, humbled, happy I am to be part of this. And I'm very thankful for IE because it was for me, a big transformation year. I miss it. I still remember how my ideas evolved, changed, and IE was able to unlock my potential. And I really mean it on so many ways. And for me, the biggest impact that IE, did to me personally, is not the textbook, it's not what I read, in the books. It was really the whole experience of developing me as a leader, as a person, is convincing me that there was, especially, on two aspects. One is on, entrepreneurship at a very early time. I remember, startups were not as big in 2009, 10 when I started, the MBA, but IE was giving it so much attention, the idea of entrepreneurial spirit, entrepreneurship, doing things differently. But the second part is the social impact. And this is, for me, was very unique compared to other MBAs, where you really give a lot of attention to that there is no contradiction between business and society, that these are two integral parts to how we could create impact, and that profit doesn't come at the cost of, community. And having this equation of happy employees, great impact on society while making profit is something very unique to IE. And for me, that's the biggest impact and the biggest learning I got from my MBA.
So you already mentioned a little bit the entrepreneurial spirit or the entrepreneurial mindset that was key. So let me maybe stick a little bit with this idea, because you obviously have evolved within the AXA group. And I'm interested in how a big organization like AXA has enabled you to grow and to develop your skills, but at the same time maintaining this entrepreneurial spirit or this entrepreneurial mindset that you just mentioned that you took away from your time at IE Business School.
So it's not only AXA. Each one of us has a role to play on this. I had the choice to just be an executive of a big organization, or even, just a project manager, but you take ownership, and this is what you learn at IE, is that you find your network, you find your support network. I remember this very well, how to find your support network. And I remember at IE, we always learned that it's not about having a good idea. It's about how to execute it, how to surround yourself with the right people, with the right team to make it happen. So I think my journey with AXA was, the first phase was, what is this organization? What are their values? What are their beliefs? How can I better navigate through the culture of this company? I immediately realized how big, how powerful the brand is across the world. And then I was able to really I would say navigate of what I would call today being an entrepreneur, building businesses for AXA, where, it started in 2014 when I built AXA Egypt from scratch to become, more than a 200 million euro company in 2 years. Today, exponentially growing. Later on, I created, AXA Next, which became the, innovation hub for AXA Group globally. Then, now, embarking on a new journey in Africa, growing, AXA in Africa. And in all of this, you realize that actually you have a multiplier effect when you work in a big organization. That not only that you're an entrepreneur, actually your impact is multiplied. There's a multiplier effect by being an entrepreneur within a big organization that gives you, I would say, the power of the brand, the power of the network, the power of the strong financing behind you. So in my personal experience, the entrepreneurship was multiplied by the strong organization behind me.
Thank you, Hassan. And you already pointed out, obviously, you had multiple roles within AXA. Let me actually pick one of them that you have just mentioned. You mentioned that you established AXA Egypt from scratch and built it into a major business opportunity. Later on, you created AXA Africa Health, right? I'm like looking into the entire continent. From your perspective, what is the future of healthcare like in Africa? And obviously, a lot probably has changed over the last few months.
Absolutely, Martin. And when you look at Africa, for many organizations, it's very difficult to navigate the African continent. It's the last untapped opportunity that exists. Asia, you have a lot of multinationals who already entered. It's highly competitive, and Africa is really the last untapped opportunity. Growing population, very high demand, young population, stability that Africa had not seen in many years. You have now strong African Union that is working on aspiring for a future like other countries experienced previously. You have huge wealth, a huge emerging middle class, and again a young population requiring different ways of doing things. When you zoom into healthcare and you take the topic of healthcare in Africa, you have multiple issues. Very poor public infrastructure. A lot of what we call brain drainage. Doctors leaving their country to aspire for a better future elsewhere. So a lack of supply, but then a huge growing demand. As you've rightly mentioned, Martin, I mean, COVID was I would say the most telling part of how much we need healthcare in Africa. So what are the trends and where I see healthcare moving in Africa today? The first one is, I would say, with technology, boundaries are almost non-existent. You can do today what we call teleconsultation, and with teleconsultation, you can talk to any doctor anywhere in the world, and that increases a lot the accessibility. The second part that we see, there's a huge trend is what we call out-of-pocket expenses. People in Africa today, Martin, are not covered by neither social security, neither private insurance. And today that's a big issue on people's, I would say, income, because that takes a huge share of their disposable income. So the second trend we see is that more people are willing to either engage in social security systems that are emerging, like universal healthcare laws that we see emerging in countries, but either private insurance that is becoming much more normal now for people to do, and it's a huge opportunity for growth. The third trend is all around what we call electronic medical record. Electronic medical record today is non-existent in Africa. People do not have any patient record, any history, and here there is a huge innovation potential where how can we standardize electronic medical records? How can actually a patient could have their history and where they can use it, between institutions, which provides a huge opportunity for future maybe MBA students who want to explore, opportunities in healthcare to really, try to solve this pain point of, that there is not a standardized data today, between all of these institutions. And I know that there will be a huge amount of financing that is going into this field in the future. So in summary, huge demand, little supply, which creates a business opportunity, young population aspiring for a digital, innovative way of doing things, disruptors in technology that are allowing to do things that we couldn't have done before. And honestly, I see that this is where we should be investing.
So we focus a little bit on the healthcare side of things, but let's maybe take a little bit of broader scope as well. You are the founder of AXA Next, a movement dedicated to business model innovation. And actually in 2016, you were selected as one of the top economic young leaders in Africa. So We spoke specifically about the trends in healthcare, but maybe generally speaking, could you tell us 3 investment trends that you expect in the near future in the region in Africa?
Absolutely. So no surprise that obviously healthcare is one of them. There is a huge investment appetite on it, on what we call health tech specifically. And it's, I've never seen valuations like the ones I'm seeing today in Africa. And I've never seen such investor interest on the healthcare industry in general. The second biggest trend that I see in Africa is all what is related to payment and transfers. The banking system has not been very inclusive. This is a continent that is hugely underbanked, with a huge informal sector that represents more than 80% of the economy, while it's not even counted in any GDP in any way. So here you have huge investments, huge I would say focus being put on cash payments, transfers, mobile money, mobile wallets, and again the technology that connects all of this together. I would say the third trend that we're seeing today in Africa is around investment in social driven projects that drive societal impact, which is what I would call, what we used to call, what used to be managed by donor money in the past is now moving to private sector-led companies who are changing the way development is happening in a much more social impact manner. And that's the typical things that you would do in IE, for example, which is social impact driven businesses that are seeing huge things. And this is across all sectors, Martin. I mean, very difficult to tell you. I could give you many examples if time allowed, but I mean, any student, any MBA student, will go through a list of things. There are plenty of great initiatives, great entrepreneurs who are doing marvelous things in Africa.
Thank you, Hassan. Maybe let's come back a little bit to your innovative spirit. What would you say are some of the biggest opportunities for innovation as well?
Yes. So here, I have a strong conviction, Martin, which is, that there was a big debate, and I was, participating in this, just before COVID, in key one, and even in the World Economic Forum, which I participated in last year, and where we were debating, what is the future of innovation in general in the world? And the discussion was around, should technology be the driver of innovation? Or not, things like blockchain, you have now technology, Bitcoin, being one of the, manifestations of this technology. But, you have this new technology, and how does it do in innovation? And I was personally always against that view, that technology drives innovation, because I've learned at IE, and I will repeat it again, and that's, back to your first question, that technology should never drive innovation, that it's actually pain points that should drive innovation. Technology is only a tool for innovation. It should never be your main, I would say, driver. It's not because there is blockchain, then I will then do something. It's because there is a pain point, and because blockchain exists, that I will be able to enable it through it. So just to give you an example, we launched an innovation within AXA, very simple one. Today when you are when you're traveling, you don't want to use roaming. In your when you're abroad, if your flight is delayed and you have a flight delay insurance, we found that most people never use it because you don't want to be sending to your insurer tons of paper while you are abroad. So we used a technology in Ethereum, which is a blockchain technology that uses a technology called smart contract. And a smart contract basically is something that is automatically happen. If the flight is delayed, we immediately get the information that is delayed, and we are able, through a third party, to disburse the claim before you even land. So by the time you landed, if it's delayed by a certain amount of hours, you receive your compensation, because we already knew that that's possible. And through the smart contract in Ethereum, it immediately triggers this. It's fully automated. We don't interfere. There is no friction between us and the client because there is no claim process. And that completely changed the claim process in an insurer that was in the future a pain point for our customers. So innovations in general will be highly driven by what new technologies is allowing us to do. And again, I would put the main ones to be around still healthcare globally, where you have a huge inflation of medical cost all around the world that is not sustainable. How can we avoid potential pandemics like the one we've had using new technologies? We could have managed this pandemic better if we were better prepared as a world. And today I see a huge investment interest on this. Data will remain to be a huge investment part. How can you actually leverage data in a way that customers could use it for their benefit? And this is why I know I'm not directly answering your question, but I don't want to say things like AI, this, because these are all tools. So I could tell you that there are different enablers that are happening us, but pain points and where each of the markets are can be very different, and innovation could take very different place depending on where you are and depending on the context.
Thank you so much, Hassan. It really shows, you're working on an exciting continent in an amazing industry with lots of changes happening, and you actually focus and you live innovation day by day. So you must have currently absolutely the dream job. So thank you so much for sharing a little bit your insights with our listeners, and thanks for your time. And once again, congratulations for being among the 50 leaders reinventing the world. I think you really absolutely obviously deserve it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Martin. Again, I will continue to be extremely passionate about healthcare. I believe that Africans deserve a better healthcare system, to be better treated. So I will continue committing my energy, my life on disrupting this business, on disrupting this industry. No surprise here. I cannot tell you how happy I am to be part of that list. Thank you for allowing me to create that impact through all what I learned from IE. And thank you for maintaining this link as an alumni. Please feel free to reach out anytime. Let people know that I'm available for them if they need my support on anything that they do. Thank you, Martin. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you.